I'm Chris Hansen, right now on Crime Watch Daily from here in New York.
They were a young couple fresh in love.
She fell very quickly.
Until 21-year-old Kelcey Fike got trapped in a raging fire.
We believe that Kelcey fought the entire time.
Is a faulty furnace to blame, or is there a more sinister clue buried in the ashes?
What did you determine after examining her body?
A mystery driver caught on surveillance video. A dog's suspicious behavior. Crime Watch Daily's Ana Garcia investigates.
You're pretty sure that that person is the killer?
Then a bloodbath in Ohio. A grandmother is violently stabbed to death. Her 6-year-old granddaughter attacked in the next room.
My grandma died a long ago.
A living witness who tells police who did it.
She said it was Uncle Clarence.
And with that, Clarence Elkins gets life in prison for murder. But
I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
today, locked up behind bars, how he turned detective to track down the real killer.
I realized that somebody was framing me.
And in a scene out of CSI, how a cigarette butt set an innocent man free. Right now.
Andrea Isom, sir, with Crime Watch Daily.
Jason Matera with Crime Watch Daily.
This
I'm Elizabeth. I'm here with Crime Watch.
I'm Michelle from Crime Watch Daily.
Ana Garcia from Crime Watch.
is Crime Watch Daily.
Stay off my property. We'll find you again. We always do.
Hello everyone, welcome to Crime Watch Daily. I'm Chris Hansen. We start today with new details on a troubling mystery.
A young woman texts her boyfriend goodnight and heads to bed. But what happened in the next few hours remains unknown. Here's Ana Garcia.
Chris, it started as a call to a house fire reported by a couple delivering newspapers. But when investigators got inside the home, they realized this was no accident. A fire in the middle of the night shows no mercy.
He said, "We have a problem."
An alarm echoes from the flames as firefighters battle to save Kelcey Fike.
We believe that Kelcey fought the entire time.
It appears to be a tragic accident.
We just assumed that she was not capable of getting out of the structure in time.
Until, out of the smoldering ashes, rises a cold-blooded mystery. What does your gut tell you that happened in there? Anyone who ever met Kelcey Fike couldn't help but love her. How would you describe Kelcey?
Kelcey was fun and silly and energetic.
And beautiful.
Yes, she was. She was. She took after her mother.
Randy Fike says you could always find his daughter in a crowd by her infectious laugh and a distinct goldfish tattoo on her back.
She was a free spirit, liked art, music, dance.
She was happy.
She was happy.
The petite 21-year-old was excited about a new job, and her mom, Mary Jo, says Kelcey had finally met the love of her life. Tell me about her meeting Alex.
She fell very quickly for Alex. He's tall, very nice looking, good manners.
Alex Young was a reservist with the Nebraska National Guard.
Were they in love?
Absolutely.
After a little less than a year of dating, Alex gives Kelcey a diamond promise ring and vows to take care of her.
I had been teasing her about I wish that she'd hurry up because I really wanted some grandbabies.
To save money for a house, they temporarily move into a mobile home together.
It was an older trailer, and it very much looked like an older 70s trailer, but it was what they could afford.
It's hidden off the main drag of Kearney, Nebraska, not an affluent part of town, but for this young couple in love, it was their first little piece of paradise together.
But were you concerned at all about her safety?
Not really. I mean, looking back on it, maybe I should have been.
June 16th was like any normal day for Kelcey. She worked, came home around 5:30, and according to a neighbor, took her basset hound Dante for a walk around 9 that night. The only thing out of the ordinary that day, Alex was out of town.
Did Kelcey ever describe any fear about where she lived or the fact that Alex was away?
She was kind of lonely, but nothing that she felt scared.
Kelcey often stayed with her parents when Alex was away, but this time she was busy packing for an upcoming trip to see her best friend, Jamie Graham.
When is the last time you heard from Kelcey?
She called me that Monday night. She had told me she was planning on just getting organized, getting ready to leave.
In some ways, it's kind of a blessing you had a chance to talk to her.
Yes. And we ended the conversation the way we always did. Love you, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
But tomorrow didn't come.
Not for her.
Just a few hours later, at around 4:30, the mobile home erupts in a hellish ball of fire. Tragically, Kelcey's inside.
We received a phone call, a 911 call from two passerbyers. They were delivering papers, and they smelled smoke coming from the trailer court. They entered the trailer court and saw that one of the trailers was on fire.
Kearney police investigator Doug McCarty says the flames are so intense, neighbors are forced to stay back. The only thing they can do is scream for Kelcey and her dog Dante through the door. But the only sound they hear, a blaring fire alarm.
The rear of the trailer, the back bedroom, as we found out later, was on fire. It was fully engulfed, smoke was coming from it.
Sadly, by the time firefighters put out the flames, it's too late to save Kelcey. Her lifeless body found on the floor near the back bedroom.
Did it look like she was trying to get out?
Yeah, at first we thought that it was an accident and she tried to get out and this succumbed to the fire.
Was there a dog?
Yeah, her basset hound was found in the living room of the trailer and he was deceased.
And so they were not together?
They were not together.
Do you find that odd?
We thought it was a little odd. We weren't sure how the dog had died.
The nightmare begins for Kelcey's mom and dad with an early morning knock from a police officer and a chaplain.
And I opened the door and they said, "Do you have a daughter named Kelcey Fike?" And I, "Yeah." And they asked if she had a tattoo of a goldfish on her back, and she did.
He said, "We have a problem." They had said that there had been a fire at Kelcey's home and that she did not survive.
How did you take that news?
I kept telling him that they were wrong. They were wrong. It wasn't her. It wasn't her. And he kept saying, "Yes, it was. Yes, it was."
Because of the tattoo?
Because of the tattoo.
What did the police tell you initially?
That it was a fire and that she just was not able to get out of the trailer.
They suddenly remembered something Alex had told them about the mobile home when Kelcey first moved in, and now it haunts them.
It was an older mobile home, and Alex had said something about having a faulty furnace, and that was my first thought, that, you know, the furnace had caught on fire, but, you know, not the case.
In fact, it was far from the case. After taking a closer look at Kelcey's burned body, cops realized this isn't a death by fire, it's a murder.
It sounds, based on what you're saying, that she could have been killed 3 times over.
Yes.
Up next, what really happened inside this mobile home?
Do you believe that the fire was set to cover up the murder?
Yes.
And who's behind the wheel of this car?
Who would want to kill Kelcey?
I have no idea.
Now back to our story, Mystery After Midnight. Once again, here's Anna Garcia.
Chris, police say they don't think that Kelcey Fike's murder was a random robbery gone wrong. In fact, they say evidence at the scene points to this being a very personal attack. Kelcey Fike's parents are beyond heartbroken.
When do you miss Kelcey the most?
Every single minute of the day.
Their beautiful 21-year-old daughter, once full of life, seemingly the innocent victim of a horrific mobile home fire.
What did they tell you?
They just said it had been a fire. And they found her deceased at about 5-something that morning.
And the dog, too?
Yes, and Dante in the living room.
Kelcey shared the little love nest with her boyfriend, Alex Young, but he happened to be out of town, so Kelcey was home alone when flames erupted in the master bedroom.
I knew Kelcey so well that I don't imagine or knew what she would be going through and what she would have felt or if she would have screamed. It was terrible.
When rescuers arrive, the fire alarm is blaring, but the flames are so intense, there's no way to save Kelcey.
I accepted in a weird way that if there was a fire, she'd probably fallen asleep and not known what happened.
And that explanation made sense because Alex had previously complained about a faulty furnace. Still, investigator Doug McCarty says Kearney police wanted to be sure there was no foul play.
We went out and our investigator went out to the scene and started taking pictures and working his way through it.
And right from the start, McCarty smells trouble.
Was the door locked?
No, both the front door and the back door were unlocked when we arrived.
Inside the burned-out trailer, investigators find Kelcey's body on the floor just outside the master bedroom.
She wasn't very badly burned.
So Kelcey's body wasn't charred?
No. She had some slight fire damage.
So investigators assume Kelcey died of smoke inhalation, that is, until they get a closer look. Then, sheer horror.
So what did you determine after examining her body?
She had bruising throughout her upper torso, her arms, her nose had been broken, her cheek, lip had been hit, and then she had blunt force trauma to the head. Then she had been manually strangled, and then a ligature had been used too.
A ligature?
Yes. The assailant struck her and then strangled her with his hands, or her hands, and then used a ligature to finish the homicide.
Cops now say Kelcey Fike was murdered and the mobile home torched to cover it up.
Was there an accelerant used?
There was not an accelerant used. But here's our point of origin. You can see the charring and how it was on this far wall.
But this isn't what killed Kelcey. The fire is not what killed her.
No, Kelcey was dead before the fire was set.
Was it even more horrible to learn that she had been murdered?
Yes. Yes. It was.
Who would do that to your daughter?
I have no idea.
Officer McCarty says they begin with the obvious person, her boyfriend, Alex Young.
Was the boyfriend ever a suspect?
We always look at the person that they're living with. Commonly, that's the suspect. We knew within probably an hour that he was gone and he was in maneuvers in Louisiana, so we had ruled him out pretty quickly.
Did your investigation uncover anyone who may have had it out for Kelcey?
We just never found anybody that disliked Kelcey. She was liked by all of her friends, and even the exes liked her.
Catching Kelcey's killer was proving to be more complicated than a typical homicide because of the fire damage.
A lot of our evidence was either washed away or burnt up.
So Kearney cops go back to old-fashioned police legwork, beginning with the obscure location of the mobile home.
She lived in a trailer park that's tucked away in between two businesses, really hard to find unless you know where she lives.
Cops also found something else curious, that unlocked front door.
And what does that indicate anything?
We're not sure if that means that she knew that somebody was coming over or she just neglected to lock the door.
But the biggest clue may surround her beloved basset hound, Dante. Neighbors never heard him bark that night.
The dog was very possessive. He was very protective. He would bark at anybody that came up near the house, and he was a basset hound, so people knew when he was barking. And nobody heard him barking that night.
That is odd.
It seems odd to us.
With that, cops now wonder if Kelcey's killer was a friend of hers.
Her boyfriend was gone. It's a very secluded area. She was very careful about who she let in the house. The dog didn't bark. So I think it's probably somebody that she knew.
Do you think that Kelcey's murder was random or targeted?
I lean towards targeted because she was very attractive. She worked the mall. A lot of people came through there. Some weird person, perverted person could have targeted her.
But who? Finally, police catch a much-needed break.
We had surveillance video from across the street that shows a car leaving the trailer court.
Right there, headlights.
So you're pretty sure that that person is the killer?
We've never identified the car. We've never identified somebody leaving from there, so we think it probably was.
Two different angles, both time-stamped 4:39 a.m., approximately 10 minutes before the fire was reported.
Well, we're pretty sure it's a sedan. More likely it's dark in color.
The problem? The video is too far away to get a plate number or the make of the car.
I could see where this really helps police with the timeline, but it's very hard to make out that vehicle.
Cops still need more, and they get it. The coroner finds strange DNA on Kelcey's body.
Was she sexually assaulted?
We think that maybe they tried to sexually assault her and she fought. She put up a fight and that they weren't able to accomplish what they were there for.
But what about the DNA? Could that lead cops to Kelcey's killer? Well, there was a problem there too. When firefighters used their high-pressure hoses to knock down the flames, the force of the water blended Kelcey's DNA with her possible killer's DNA.
So Kelcey's DNA is mixed with someone else's.
Right.
Investigator McCarty sent the samples to one of the most sophisticated crime labs in the country, hoping to find out who was in Kelcey's mobile home that terrible night.
And you're trying to separate them scientifically to see if you can get clear DNA.
So then we'd have an actual ability to match that DNA to our suspect.
Wow, that could actually be the break in this case.
It could. We're hopeful that it will be. We really want closure for the family.
For now, it's a painful waiting game.
I wake up every morning with the knowledge that my beautiful 21-year-old daughter was very brutally murdered. That's not going to change.
Until science can help solve Kelcey's murder mystery, her family hopes someone will come forward. Because they know somewhere out there, a killer is still on the loose.
This case needs to be solved, not for Kelcey, but for any future potential victims of this individual, so that the next person doesn't go through the pain and the terror that my Kelcey did. Sorry.
Again, there's a $30,000 reward for any information leading to the capture and conviction of a suspect in Kelcey's death. If you know anything, you can submit a tip at crimewatchdaily.com or call the Buffalo County Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-308-237-3424. Coming up, a 6-year-old witnesses her grandmother savagely attacked and killed.
It was just absolutely brutal.
And she thinks she knows who did it.
She said it was Uncle Clarence.
Today, how Clarence Elkins turned into a detective from behind bars to try and clear his name.
I got it and secretly mailed it out. Got a 99.9% match.
That's coming up.
We're back here in New York now with a convicted murderer and his covert mission to prove his innocence. It all starts with a brutal attack inside an Ohio home as a grandmother is watching her granddaughter.
A grandmother savagely slaughtered in her own house.
It was a bloodbath.
The killer raped her, slashed her throat, and beat her to a pulp.
It was just absolutely brutal.
The woman's screams wake up her 6-year-old granddaughter. The terrified little girl tells cops who did it.
She said it was Uncle Clarence. She said it was Uncle Clarence.
Clarence Elkins, the girl's uncle. But Clarence told police,
I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
But a jury said he did, and Clarence was sent to prison for life. How he would ultimately prove his innocence is such an amazing story, you'll think it's ripped from an episode of CSI.
Forensic science, in reality, is deeply flawed.
The beautiful rolling hills of Ohio, an oasis of green in the drabness of the Rust Belt. Like many of the good people here, Clarence Elkins made his living at a steel plant.
I was a hot and cold forging operator. I was finally able to make a day shift. Then the inevitable happened.
The inevitable, the cold-blooded murder of Clarence's mother-in-law, Judy Johnson.
We had, I would say, an average relationship, you know, any son-in-law and mother-in-law would have. I didn't have anything against her in any way.
The killer beat Judy so severely, her nose, jaw, and collarbone were fractured. Then the monster took Judy's 6-year-old granddaughter to her room and did the unthinkable.
The little girl ended up being attacked as well, raped, assaulted, knocked unconscious, left for dead. Fortunately, she survived.
The next morning, the girl regained consciousness and left a chilling voicemail for a friend.
I'm starting to get anxious about my grandma died, and I need somebody to get my mom for me. I'm all alone. Somebody kill my grandma.
Still naked from the horrific assault, the little girl ran next door for help.
Unclothed, blood streaming from her forehead, knocked on the door and told the neighbor that somebody had hurt her grandma and her. And the neighbor at that time told her, "Just wait, I'm going to call your mother."
But for some strange reason, the neighbor left the girl on her doorstep for 45 minutes before taking her to her mother.
When a child appears on your front step in that way, why wouldn't you invite the child into your home? Why wouldn't you wrap the child up in a blanket? Why wouldn't you call the police when a child has obviously been assaulted?
The girl told the neighbor the killer looked like Clarence. That was enough for police to get an arrest warrant.
I remember hearing somebody come up the driveway real fast.
A SWAT team swarms Clarence's house and immediately slaps the cuffs on his 15-year-old son, Clarence II.
They told me I was under arrest for the murder of Judith Johnson, and I just said, what? I didn't even know what to think about it. It was almost like you're in a dream, but you can't do nothing about it.
He never had time to process the fact that his own grandmother was murdered.
It was disbelief to me. It didn't seem real.
And the boy wasn't even the suspect. His brief arrest, just collateral damage in the search for who cops thought was the real killer. His father.
I said, well, what's going on? And they said, turn around, put your hands up, and walk backwards slowly. And I'm like, you got the wrong house here or something. And then eventually they told me about a half an hour later that I was a suspect in a murder of my then mother-in-law, Judith Johnson. And I said, you have the wrong person. There's nobody here that's done anything like that. And they said, well, they had a witness, and it was the 6-year-old girl.
In the county jail, Clarence found support from one man who believed in him, Pastor Tom Williams.
When I first met Clarence, I said, I want you to look me in my eyes. I want you to tell me, did you do this? And he looked at me and said, I did not do this. I don't even know what's going on. I did not do this. And from that moment on, he had me.
Defense attorney Larry Whitney says Clarence couldn't have been at the crime scene because he was at a bar more than an hour away.
Although we didn't have an alibi for that time, we had a virtual alibi. We had evidence as to where he was in such a way that he would have had to flew at 80 miles an hour to get to the scene of the crime and back.
Clarence stood trial for murder, attempted murder, and rape.
The motive was the difficulty that he had with his mother-in-law personally.
There was no physical evidence tying Clarence to the crime scene, but the eyewitness evidence, the little girl's claim. And at trial, her story dramatically changed. Instead of saying the killer looked like Clarence, she told the jury it was Clarence.
In my cross-examination of her, was that was one of the discrepancies. Didn't you tell the neighbor that it looked like Uncle Clarence? And then later on, you ended up saying, it was my Uncle Clarence.
Jurors believed the little girl and convicted Clarence. The sentence, life in prison.
I thought, well, you know, pretty much my life is over now.
The moment he walked through the prison gates, Clarence knew he had a target on his back.
It's not a safe place. With the charges I was charged with, most inmates don't look on that too lightly. I was always having to watch my back. Lost faith in the justice system and lost trust in about everybody.
For years, Clarence rotted away in his prison cell. Then a sensational new development gave him hope. Science was about to turn this verdict upside down. His legal team used new technology to test skin cell DNA left in the little girl's panties.
We see DNA testing that can be done because that gives you a clear answer, yes or no, if the person's innocent or not.
And the results prove that DNA didn't belong to Clarence, but to a mystery man.
I realized that somebody was framing me, somebody was setting me up.
But just who was framing him? Next, Clarence turns from inmate into his own CSI investigator.
I seen him putting a cigarette out.
How a tiny cigarette butt becomes Clarence's big break. He looked like my Uncle Clarence. That's what a 6-year-old victim told police after she and her grandmother were violently attacked. That statement was enough for cops to arrest Clarence Elkins and even send him to prison for life. But Elkins has always maintained he's innocent, and now he needed help to prove it. Prisons are filled with thousands of men who claim they're innocent, and Clarence Elkins is no different.
Everybody in prison, they say they're innocent.
But Clarence is one inmate who really is innocent.
I got arrested, falsely accused, and wrongly convicted.
An Ohio jury sent Clarence to prison for life in the brutal murder of his mother-in-law, Judy Johnson, and rape of his 6-year-old niece. How would he convince the system he didn't do it? Mark Godsey from the Ohio Innocence Project came to his rescue.
It right away caught my attention because it had all the earmarks that we're looking for. There was a very shaky eyewitness ID, and more importantly, there was DNA evidence that could be tested.
That eyewitness was Clarence's 6-year-old niece. She told the court, quote, "Uncle Clarence did it." Then in a stunning reversal, years later, she recanted her story.
I think it was 2002 when she took it back, when she said that she was afraid to go against what people were encouraging her to testify to. Clarence tried to get an appeal on that basis. He was denied.
So his team hired a private investigator to identify people in the neighborhood who might be the real killer.
One of them they identified was Earl Mann.
Earl Mann, a convicted sex offender. Remember when Clarence's niece went next door for help after the attack? That was Mann's house, and his girlfriend had told the child to wait outside while Mann was inside. The girl never saw him.
She didn't want to invite the little girl into the house to get another look at Earl Mann.
He looked like Clarence Elkins, and he had just been released from prison a few days before the murder and rapes in this case and was living next door. Who happens to look like Clarence Elkins.
Look at them side by side. They both have thick eyebrows, and you'll be stunned at what Mann said to cops after an unrelated arrest.
Earl Mann had been picked up for a violent crime, and on his way to the police station said to the officer who arrested him, "Why aren't you arresting me for the murder of Judy Johnson?"
And in an unbelievable turn of events, Mann fell right into Clarence's hands. He was sentenced to the same prison.
At first, I didn't want to point the finger and blame somebody without some kind of evidence. So I contemplated on possibly maybe getting some kind of DNA from this guy.
And he found it in, of all places, a prison ashtray. After years of praying and hoping, Clarence finally had the key that would unlock his cell door.
I seen him putting a cigarette butt out, and I retrieved the cigarette butt out of the ashtray, makeshift ashtray, and put it in a Bible concordance I have.
Clarence took the Bible back to his cell, placed the butt in a baggie, and sent it to his lawyer.
Secretly mailed it out, got it to the lab, and I got a call about a month or so later. We got a 99.9% match.
But Clarence needed some friends in high places to get the DNA results to the court. He found a key ally in Jim Canepa, who then worked for the Ohio Attorney General.
So victim number one, victim number two, forensic evidence from the rapes match each other. and exclude Clarence.
And Clarence had another supporter at the AG's office who would become more than just a friend. A legal secretary named Molly. She eventually became Mrs. Clarence Elkins.
I even thought, wow, is he really innocent? And then I was quite surprised that he was actually still in prison, and they had evidence overwhelming that he shouldn't have been there.
Now, the full power of the Office of the Attorney General was behind Clarence's bid for freedom. And in a dramatic turn of events, Clarence was completely exonerated. He walked out of prison a free man.
I'm still pinching myself.
The real killer turned out to be that neighbor next door, Earl Mann. He pleaded guilty to the crimes Clarence was accused of and sentenced to life in prison.
To be part of proving your own innocence from behind bars and concrete walls and barbed wire, that's pretty amazing stuff, I think.
Today, Clarence and his sons are making up for lost time.
When I see him walk out the doors, it's kind of when it set in, kind of went in shock all over again.
They're bonding over bikes.
But it didn't have the power.
Billiards. And posing for pictures at family gatherings.
Your heads aren't good.
But what about the 800-pound gorilla in the room? The 6-year-old niece who accused her Uncle Clarence.
I still don't hold any ill-willed feelings towards her. She's just an amazing, strong person to survive.
And so is Clarence, cherishing the freedom of riding his motorcycle whenever he wants. He and Molly established a scholarship fund at the University of Cincinnati Law School. That's where the Ohio Innocence Project is based. He says he doesn't want another innocent person to be behind the 8 ball.
I wouldn't wish that kind of nightmare on anyone, on my worst enemy. It's living hell, so to speak.
As for Earl Mann, he will never see the outside of a prison again. On top of the murder charges to which he pleaded guilty in this case, he's also serving a 7-year sentence for 3 unrelated sexual assaults. Attacks that may have never happened had the right man been behind bars in the first place.
Up next, a young woman murdered after a massive Halloween party in the woods. Police finally unmasked the monster they say killed Kelcey Fike.
During the interview, detectives obtained details that only the killer would have known, as this information had never been disseminated to the public.
Coming up.
It was a horror story that started at, of all places, a Halloween party. A young woman goes missing for months before police would eventually find her body. Today, we've got a Crime Watch Daily update from the courtroom as the alleged killer lays out his unbelievable defense and he finally learns his fate. Here's Pat Lalama.
He swore it was just an accident.
Do you intend to cause her death?
No, I do not.
He insisted things just got out of hand.
That didn't mean for her to die. Didn't mean for this to end like this.
But cops didn't believe Daniel Clay, and neither did a Michigan jury, finding the 28-year-old career criminal guilty of the violent and torturous murder of young Kelcey Fike. The payback for Clay's heinous deed? A mandatory sentence of life behind bars. Our Detroit affiliate WXYZ reporting. Kelcey Fike's tragic story begins at a raucous Halloween bash on this sprawling Monroe County farm.
A lot of alcohol and drugs used at that scene.
Kelcey, say friends, was more the quiet, timid type, not open to strangers, didn't even drive. The 22-year-old blonde with an infectious smile lived at home with her parents. Still, Kelcey was eager to go to the party. She hopped a ride with a friend and showed up at the huge affair donning her own homemade costume, depicting the villainous character Poison Ivy of Batman fame. Black pants, leaf top, dark wig. Friend Becky Aguilar-Brinson tells our affiliate partner WXYZ Kelcey was there, and then she wasn't.
I told her, I said, stay right here, I'll be right back.
This picture, taken at 1:30 in the morning, according to another friend, shows Kelcey still wearing the costume and still at the party. But Kelcey would never make it home. Law enforcement in Southeast Michigan launched an investigation and a call to action.
It's never too late. We just want our daughter back.
Someone at the party reported they saw Kelcey walking toward the parking area at 3 a.m. with a man wearing dark glasses and a black hooded sweatshirt. This composite sketch is immediately drawn up and released. Months pass without a suspect, without justice for Kelcey. A 23rd birthday had come and gone, her sister's wedding now part of the family album.
It would have been the perfect wedding if all my children had been there.
Finally, a piece of Kelcey's poison ivy costume is found on an abandoned lot. 3 weeks later, construction workers excavating a secluded property find Kelcey's remains.
Kelcey's decomposed body was located in a wooded area on Briar Hill Road in Ash Township.
According to reports, Kelcey's body was nude and partially decomposed, covered in logs and limbs. Cops link DNA found on Kelcey's costume to Daniel Clay. When they interview him on an unrelated theft charge, he talked himself right into a murder rap.
During the interview, detectives obtained details that only the killer would have known, as this information had never been disseminated to the public.
Clay told police Kelcey died accidentally during rough sex in the back of his car. But in this police interrogation tape, Clay just can't explain how Kelcey's jaw had been broken.
I didn't know I did that. I don't remember hitting her or anything.
The medical examiner ruled Kelcey's death the result of blunt force trauma to the head, far from an accident. Daniel Clay, the deadbeat dad of 2 young sons, had a history of brushes with the law. But a social media post on Daniel's page 1 month after Kelcey's murder seems to indicate a desire to step up the criminal game. I already know that I'm going to hell. At this point, it's really go big or go home. Definitely not home, and who knows about hell? What we do know is Daniel Clay will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Do you have anything to say to Kelcey's family? That I'm sorry?
Empty words for a family whose hearts are filled with everlasting pain.
Up next, a young college student is found dead in the waters of this picturesque Tennessee lake. It's officially ruled an accidental drowning, but could it be murder?
I believe that there was foul play.
Our viewers weigh in on the controversial story of Lauren Agee. Next. Among all this beauty, an ugly incident. A beautiful 21-year-old is found dead floating in a Tennessee lake. Police say it was a tragic accident. Her mother and others believe it was something else.
Do you think she drowned?
I know she didn't drown.
Today, our viewers sound off on the controversial case. What happened on this cliff? It all starts when Lauren Agee sets off on a camping trip with 3 friends to a popular wakeboarding event.
But Lauren definitely was, alcohol was in her system, you could tell. She was having a good time.
After a day filled with partying, at around 2:30 a.m., the 4 canoe in the dark to a remote campsite. The location 90 feet above the lake on one side and a 45-foot drop down the other. And the most terrifying part, the place where you sleep once you're up there, is a hammock tied between 2 trees dangling right out over the water.
And I remember saying that to myself, if this rope breaks, I'm gone.
In the early morning hours, the other 3 say they all go to sleep. But when the sun comes up, Lauren is gone.
They could have said, hey, our friend is missing. Can you help us look for her? They didn't do any of the things that normal friends would do.
Instead, the other girl in the group reportedly tells authorities,
oh, she must have went back to the bar.
Sadly, that wasn't the case. A fisherman would find her body a few hours later.
They've ruled it what?
Accidental. Actually, the incident report says drowning.
Did you believe that was possible?
You believe law enforcement. You do. But my gut feeling was telling me different.